What's up? It's Ron. In this video, we are talking about Bitcoin dominance, what stage we are in the market right now, why it's important. We'll look at some charts. I'll even give my take on my Bitcoin price prediction and when I think alt season is going to happen. So a lot to unpack here. Make sure you watch all the way through so you are prepared for what is about to happen. Bitcoin dominance is something that I'm always looking at. It shows how much of the total crypto market cap is made up of Bitcoin. When BTC dominance is rising, it usually means investors are playing it safe and they're moving into Bitcoin instead of altcoins. That tells me that we're more in the cautious phase of the market. But when it's dropping from its high range, which I'll actually show you here in just a second, that means altcoins are pumping and people are taking more risk. That's usually when the market is more bullish and money is flowing into these smaller, more speculative coins. So for me, understanding both the macro view and indicators like BTC dominance helps me not just guess, but make better entry and exit decisions based on where the market might be heading and how I should position my investments. Quick disclaimer, this isn't financial advice, so always do your own research. And hey, if you appreciate videos like this, please hit that like button. It really helps push the video to beginners that are trying to get into crypto, and it really help your boy out and is much appreciated. Let's get into it. Here is the Bitcoin dominance chart. Right now, we're currently right here, around 63%. And what we have noticed with past patterns is that we typically top out at around 73% dominance. You can see that happening right here. You can also see that happening again right here, close to 73%. Now, we also notice that Bitcoin dominance, when it drops to its all-time low, is almost around 39%. We see that happen there, a few touches here, and then right there. We know that from watching the past videos, you will know that when Bitcoin dominance drops, alts rise. And so the pattern we're noticing is that Bitcoin dominance will need to test 73% its high range before we see alt season begin. Now, the thing that I wanted to show you with this is first, I wanted to layer the Fed's interest rates on top. So we're going to go ahead and put that right on top. And I wanted to show you something. When it comes to investing in crypto, the one thing that I've learned the hard way is that you can't just fall into the hype. You need to understand the bigger picture, and it's better to understand the macro view. That means that you're paying attention to things like the Federal Reserve interest rates decisions, inflation, and how the overall economy is doing. That is the macro. For example, if the Fed cuts interest rates, it usually means that they're trying to stimulate the economy, and that often leads to more money flowing into riskier assets like crypto. So if I know that rates are coming, that's a signal for me that liquidity is going to enter the market and crypto might start running. Now, on the flip side, when the Fed raises rates, it often leads to pullbacks or slower growth in crypto because money is tightening up. And I've noticed, based on research, that Q1 and Q3 is when historically we see cuts happening. So looking at the past Fed's decisions, Q1 cuts are common if the Fed is reacting to early signs of economic trouble like in 2001, 2008, and 2020. And Q3 cuts often happen after they've confirmed a downturn in the market and the market starts cracking. 2007 and 2019, we've experienced that happen as well. I think that we're going to see Q3 Fed rate cuts this year. In turn, causing Q4 and Q1 of 2026, so Q4 of this year and Q1 of 2026 to where I think alts start running. And I've said this in numerous videos, but I wanted to explain why I believe this to be true. Now let's go ahead and look at the BTC USD pair. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually delete these drawings and I'm going to redraw it for you so that I can show you what I'm saying. Now, right now we're just looking at Bitcoin's USD pair chart. I wanted to show you when historically Bitcoin has peaked. So what we're going to do here is we're going to draw some vertical lines. December of 2017, that was one of the peaks. Let's look again. I'll say November 2013. Let's look over here. This cycle was a bit tricky, but the peak was around here. So let's go ahead and draw that out. That is November 2021. And what we're noticing is every 4-year cycle in November or December, Bitcoin has topped. Let's draw the horizontal line so you can see that right there, and right there. I was betting on when I think Bitcoin's price is going to top. It would be November, December of 2025 this year. That would put us around right here. When I'm trying to figure out when Bitcoin might top in this cycle, the first thing I want to do is look back at history. So what I've done for you is I've marked the tops of the previous cycles using vertical blue lines on this chart. If you notice, each of these tops landed around November and December. I'm not making predictions here. I'm just showing you the facts, no opinions. This is a pattern that has been consistent in every single Bitcoin cycle so far. Historical pattern, 2013, top, we saw November. Then we see 2017, top December. Then we see 2021, top November. You can clearly see the time doesn't lie. So if we follow this trend, logical to expect that the next peak will land around November, December of 2025. Remember, we drew these horizontal lines showing the peaks of every single top that Bitcoin has done in each previous cycle. What's interesting is that I'm noticing the gap between each top is getting smaller and smaller. So you'll notice the gap here is substantial. The gap here, less substantial. If I think we're continuing on this pattern, maybe a hot take, I think this gap is going to be even less substantial. So from 1,000 to 20,000, obviously massive jump. Then from 20,000 to 69,000, smaller jump. Now I'm projecting that we're gonna actually hit around $180,000 for our peak price of Bitcoin. And the reason I think that is because, well, what I wanna do here is draw out this regression band so I can show you what I'm saying. If we follow this regression band, we notice that here's a top, here's a top, here's a top. And if I was a betting man, again I am, I think here's the top. That's around 180, 190,000. We might push 200. That's what I think is possible this cycle, November, December 2025. This isn't random, it's based on historical growth. And as Bitcoin matures, the returns get more compressed. And that's normal in any market. So this regression band that I added, this logarithmic regression band, is shaded in the green and the red. It's helpful because it's contained Bitcoin's price actions in all major cycles. And right now, Bitcoin is moving steadily towards that red band right up here. As you notice, we're making an upward push, just like we did in past cycles before peaking. Based on where the price is and where we're headed, I really do think we're going to hit that 180K mark near the end of this year, sometime Q4. Now, this brings us to the question, when is alt season going to start? So for that, we're going to actually look at total 3 minus USDT Bitcoin pair. And right here, I marked out the tops and the bottoms. As you've noticed that, or you may not have noticed that, every time we have alt season and alt jump to its high, which is marked by this higher band, before that even happens, you're gonna see a dump of altcoins and it touches the lower band. And so what we wanna do is we wanna notice that that happened here. We kind of oversold a little bit, but that happened here before we shot up. And again, that happened here before we shot up. So if we take that logic and we apply it to now, I think that we're gonna see a move down here sometime before we shoot up. Instead of me trying to predict the exact timing of these events, instead I just watch Bitcoin dominance and total 3 together really to make the decisions on why I think alt season or when I think alt season is going to happen. So I don't overcomplicate it. These just are historical signals prior to these events taking place. I just look at the facts, people. I trade the chart in front of me, not the market that I want. And that's when I think alt season is going to begin. All right, YouTube fam, that was a breakdown of Bitcoin dominance, the macro outlook, and what my 2025 price prediction is. At the end of the day, I'm not here to hype things up. I'm here to give you the tools and the mindset I use to navigate the market with logic and strategy. Whether I'm watching Bitcoin dominance or keeping an eye on how the Fed moves or checking where we are in the Bitcoin cycle, these are all data points that help me make smarter decisions. Remember, alt season just doesn't pop up out of nowhere. The signals are always there. You just have to be able to watch the right ones. And if you stick around to this channel, I'll keep pointing them out as they come. If this video gave you any value at all, do me a solid like, subscribe, turn on notifications so that you do not miss the next update. And drop a comment if you agree, disagree, or have your own thesis. I read them all and I comment on every one. Again, my name is Ron, helping you make sense of the noise and trade what's real. See you on the next one.